Hello, students. I'm Harshada More. Welcome you all in the fourth lecture of Unit 1 for the subject Labor Legislation. In previous classes, we have discussed three important acts. Such a first one was Factories Act 1948. Then we have discussed Industrial Dispute Act 1947. And in yesterday's class, we have discussed about Industrial Employment Standing Order Act 1946. So in today's class we'll be discussing about different procedures which are related to the standing order. So let's discuss it one by one. Okay, these are all aspects which we have done in the last class. Okay, so let's discuss what is the procedure for this particular submission of draft standing orders. So, as per section 3, the employer has to submit 5 copies of the draft standing orders to a certifying officer within 6 months from the date this act has been applicable to that particular industrial establishment. Then for every matter, it should include every matter which is related to establishment, and there should be provision for each matter related to establishment. Then this includes specific information about the workman employed, and also the name of trade union which they are belongs to. Then it also includes that is group of employers in a industry may have to submit a certain kind of joint draft in this. Then we are having one more part of it as a once there is again a procedure for certification of standing order. That is this next was the procedure for particular procedure for adoption. So in that, once the draft copy is submitted to certifying officer, he or she have a right we have to submit it to the particular recognized certifying officer, and he or she can forward it to the recognized trade unions if he or she finds any kinds of objections regarding that standing order. Next is and once they have the certifying officer gave that particular standing order to the group of trade union, they have to modify it, they have to add the additional things into that draft copy, and then that standing order will be considered for the final. Then it gets this particular whatever, suppose a certifying officer is giving forwarding back the standing order to the trade union, then within 30 days of period they have to modify it, that is the expiry time for that. Standing order includes different conditions which are connecting employees and employers from the date they becomes operational, or they becomes they started their activities in the organization. If there is any kind of modification is required about draft, then that modification part is also recorded, kept as a record with the certifying officer. Then until certifying officer duly certifies the standing orders of the particular industrial establishments, the model standing order published under the act will be automatically applied throughout the industrial establishments. So these are what the procedure for the certification and adoption procedure. Next is what are the different conditions for certification. Different conditions, what are the different conditions? First is provision for every matter. As I have said, there should be provision for each and every matter which are related to industrial establishments. And secondly, it's a duty of certifying officer or a appellate authority to adjudicate upon the fairness of the provisions of any standing orders. So these are the two important conditions for certification. Next is Next is payment of substance allowances. So, as per section 10, as per section 10A, if any workman is suspended by the employer pending inquiry into the charges of the misconduct against him, then he or she should get 50% of the wages, that is standard wages that he used to get previously. 50% of that wages he should get in a preceding in a preceding date, from the immediately from the preceding the date of suspension, for first 90 days. Okay, for first 90 days of suspension he should get 50% of the wages, and for the further period, if the suspension goes long for a long period of time than the 90 days, then they should get 75% of the wages. So this is what the which is related to the payment of substance allowances. Next we have, what are the different powers of certifying officers. So every certifying officer has, as per section 11 subsection 1, every certifying officer has a power of receiving evidence, administering oaths, and compelling the discovery and production of the documents, and enforcing the attendance of the witness. So these are the important concepts which we have discussed in today's class. So just I'll start making some review of what we have discussed today. So we in today's class we have discussed what is the different procedure for submission of drafting a standing order. So there is a procedure for how you have to submit your standing order, and what are the ways of it. Then we have discussed we have also discussed what are the different two conditions for certification of a standing order. Then we have discussed payment of substance allowances. Substance allowances is something which a workman should get at the time of suspension. So suspension is a kind of a penalty or a charges for a workman who have done something wrong or for the misconduct, right? So even those employees should get the certain percentage of their wages. So that is what the substance allowances. Next is, we have lastly we have discussed as a what are the different powers of certifying officers. In that we have discussed receiving evidence, administrating oath, we have discussed enforcing the attendance of the witness, and compelling the discovery and production of the documents. So section 12 is talks about the oral evidence in a contradiction of the standing order, and section 12A talks about the temporary application of the model standing order. So this is what we have discussed in today's class. So this is, I think, end of the first module. If you people are facing any kinds of difficulty and in understanding of any concepts which is related to the first unit, please you can ask me. So in brief, we have also discussed from initial part, we have discussed the first act which was related to Factories Act 19. We have discussed first act as in the Factories Act 1948. Then we have discussed second act as the Industrial Dispute Act, which was, I think, related to 1947 year. And in our since yesterday we are discussing the third act, which is Industrial Employment Standing Order Act, which is in the which has been established in the year 1946. So please try to understand each acts. I know it's a bit difficult to understand these theoretical law related concepts, but try to understand in your own way. But while writing in the examinations, you have to use the specific terms which are related to law, and you have to try to mention the sections as per the every act. So that would be more effective while writing the answers in the examination. um, so these are the, and most of the time I think I have when have been gone through with your previous year question papers, I can see only three types, only just one type of question related to this particular act. That was, what are the different silent features of Factories Act, what different features, that is silent features of the Industrial Dispute Act. And there is, for 2 marks there will be a question as a what is Factory Act, what does it include. And there can be a question of what is Industrial Dispute Act, or there can be a question of what is standing order, or what is the definition of Industrial Employment Standing Order Act. So these can be the questions which can be possibly come in the examination. So just try to prepare in that way. And if you people are facing that, so on a particular concept should be explained in a more detailed way, let me know. I'm ready to explain it one more time. So that's all for today's class. Okay, thank you.